prepared, to whom will they belong? Thus will it be for all who store up treasures for themselves, but are not rich in what matters to God. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
In case you aren't clear from the first reading, maybe we're still recovering from the festival, everything is vanity. All the things are vanity. Your knowledge and skills, vanity. Your labor, vanity. Your possessions, vanity. Oh, and by the way, once you pass away, those who get your possessions, that's also vanity. So what's going on here? Why are we declaring in this reading all things vanity? Right? Isn't God good? Isn't God's creation good? Didn't God create us with free will and intellect to pursue Him, to gain knowledge of Him, in particular through His creation, and to use our bodies in creation to build things and to harvest and to have food and to nourish ourselves? These things seem good. So what's really going on here? Why is everything being declared vanity? So let's take a look at the author here. Homilist, which is a Greek translation of a title that means one who calls together the community of God's people. In the book of Ecclesiastic, Homilist is identifying himself as the son of David, the king of Jerusalem. So in essence, he's claiming to be King Solomon, who we know as wise and knowledgeable. Now, scholars believe this was actually written much later than that, and he's probably co-opting the name or trying to co-opt Solomon to project wisdom and knowledge. But nonetheless, through the writing, it's clear that this person has studied many fields and has gained knowledge and wisdom and skill. So the problem is either this person doesn't believe what they started out this reading saying, that all things are vanity, or there's something deeper here. We often think of vanity as superfluous or unnecessary or something that's done in vain, there's no point. But the word here is translated from the Hebrew word, and I'll probably pronounce this wrong, so my apologies, hevel, which means vapor, breath, or smoke, which is highlighting this fleeting nature of things, right? Worldly achievements, even life itself, is ultimately meaningless if not rooted in a spiritual foundation. So the intention here is to highlight our human tendency to become attached to worldly things. But remember, worldly things are not necessarily bad, they're just worldly. Right? Something can be good and meaningful and still be fleeting. So the point is we need to temper our attachments to these things and not lose sight of the eternal. We also see this play out in the gospel with the parable of the rich man, the rich landowner. And let's take a second to remember, why does Jesus, when asked why he speaks in parables, what does he say? He reminds the disciples that not everyone will understand. Some will, but some will not. It takes effort and it takes our own will to work through the details, to try to understand the characters, to get at what the meaning of that parable is. And sometimes we have to wrestle with who we are in that story to try to get some meaning out of it. And you're probably thinking, but Deacon, there's only two characters in that story, the rich landowner and God. And I don't want to compare myself to God, so I must be the rich landowner. Well, I contend there's two characters here. The one we know about, the rich man, the rich landowner, but there's also people that work for him, right? He's this landowner with this bountiful harvest. He's not harvesting by himself. He's not building these barns by himself. He has people that work for him. So I think there's two people in this story. Now, back on the rich man, with this windfall, he does not turn his attention to God. He turns it towards himself. Right? He turns it inwardly and tries to figure out how he can hold on to this wealth and just hoard this. And he dreams of this future where he just grows fat, dumb, and happy, living off of this bounty that he's now been given. But talk about vanity of vanities, going back to that first reading. God tells him, you fool, all this newfound bounty, all this harvest is going to be completely worthless to you because your life is going to be demanded of you. And let's look at the people that work for the landowner. We don't really hear about them in the story, but put yourself in their position. It doesn't say anything in the story about how he treats them prior to this. So we can assume it's probably okay. They're probably living at least all right. But when they see this bountiful harvest, what if they look at that and they become jealous? Or they try to take some out of greed? We don't know, right? This is just Deacon speculating. But that also would be vanity. That would also be turning away from God and looking at somebody else's good fortune and becoming jealous and wanting some of that as well. But either way, the point Jesus is emphasizing is that things of this world pass away, while things of heaven endure for all eternity. Now, I assure you, I could easily spend the next hour or more, and maybe some of you could too, telling you how this type of vanity has worked its way into my life throughout the years, right? Because I'm human, we all do that. We find ways to add extra importance to things that really have not that much importance. But this is deeply personal. And so my challenge to you is to find some time to think for yourselves, where are you experiencing this in your life? Where do you have that Koheleth on your shoulder, looking at you going, that too, vanity, right? So take that and do two things. First, think about that and bring that with a full, contrite heart to confession. And then second, with resolve of God's help, ask to get better and to turn away from that particular vanity towards God. And may God continue to bless us and guide us on our journey.